keeps me up at night is the sobering realization that evil exists.
I have men at my back. You stand alone and defy me. I'm not alone.
And happy Monday, guys. Before I start, I always do a mic check. Okay, we're good to go. I hope everyone had a great weekend. It's Monday. It's March break. I have my son with me, which is great. He's just downstairs. He's like, Dad, if your live takes too long, is it all right if I creep up in the room? Just be in the same room with you, and because he likes to listen to my lives, but he likes it not looking on his cell phone. He actually likes it when he's right beside me. So I think he loves the camera. But either way, guys, welcome to Monday night. Again, this is the new account. Sorry for, for the people that still don't know about the Jeff Freedom account. So, for the freedom fighters, the freedom family, please let everyone know if you see someone that's not commenting on our, on the freedom family, let them know. By the way, Jeff's on the Freedom Jeff page instead of the Jeff Freedom, because he's blocked for 2 months for saying the words ivermectin and fenbendazole, even though there's Facebook pages with nude women and all this crap, but you can't talk about ivermectin, fenbendazole. It's pretty damn sad, let me tell you that. So anyway, welcome Monday night. Let's do the shout outs, and I've got a lot of videos to show you. So I don't know if Ron's watching from the Winnipeg area, but if he is, he's going to love all the videos I got to show tonight, guys. So let's do the shout outs, and we'll go from there. All right. So, of course, this is going out to all the common sensors, the Freedom family, our American family, of course, patriots, our purebloods, our once upon a time purebloods. Everyone's a family when it comes to common sense. All right. First shout out's going out to Miss Judy Horn from Kentucky, Miss Yolanda, Juanita, Gilles Bourgeois, Debbie, Vincent, brother from a different mother. How you doing, Sean, from another brother from a different mother from Oshawa? Let's see, Mo from Somerset, Miss Tadaz or Roland, Brenda Pryor, Miss May, Michelle from Ontario, of course, Joelle, brother from a different mother, from Dieppe, Miss Karen, Mac, Judy from Nanaimo, Kathy, Mike from Riverview, Sylvia from the island, my brother from a different mother, Manny from Rishabuktu, and of course, what's this? Hey, the Facebook cut out on me. And that's going out to Sean. Facebook cut out on you? That wouldn't be a shock. Let me tell you that. How you doing, Billy? Also, Dan, Marsh, Annette, Nancy, Dan Sear, Miss Janice from Moncton, Diane, Miss Eagles, Ontario, Miss Irene. There's Ron. I'm in a very pissy mood, but I came anyway. Pissy mood? Why would you be in a pissy mood? You live in in one of the biggest, what do you call it, blizzard provinces filled with tons of Punjabis, you know, in all of Canada. I mean, why would you want to be in a pissy mood for? But I got a lot of videos for you to make it up. How you doing, Amanda? Hope Amanda. I just installed a reverse osmosis machine in Amanda's PI. Guys, if you're in PI, ask Amanda. When I tested her water and I shocked her water, trust me, I've got the video. She was so amazed. What came out of her water was literally disgusting. So yeah, she can tell you how it feels to be drinking her reverse osmosis water right now. Because I mean, I can't believe they actually survived on the water that they were drinking this long. So anyway, shout out going out to you, Amanda. I'm glad you like your machine. How you doing, Nancy and Brent? Miss Carrie from Ontario, Billy from Ottawa Valley, Miss Jan Krabelski, Nancy from Saint Marie, Victoria from Tennessee, Kim. Abbott, you're not late, Kim. Joan, Gerald, and I think that will be it for now, guys. Like I said, a lot of people don't know about this account, so put it out there, share it. If you see the Freedom Family that doesn't know about the page, guys, because this is our page for the next 2 months. I hate to say it, but this is our page for the next 2 months. All right, just 2 months is going to be a long time. Let me tell you that, and I'll be in Calgary to let you guys know. I'll be literally in Calgary as of March 24th for 3 months. How you doing, Nick? Another member of the friendship and also a great referee that was with me. All right, first things first, guys, let's do this. Lots of videos. I know you guys know what's going on. I mean, did you guys see? I'm going to show you a video, and it's probably one of the most disturbing videos that you're ever going to see if you're a Canadian. All right, one of the most disturbing videos that literally pissed me off. It's not a surprise. It's not a shock for you libtards out there. Obviously, not too many liberals are watching me. And I know people always tell me, like, Jeff, if you want some more viewers, you need to calm down, and on the vaccinated, which I did. Okay. With the whole liberal talk and how I insult them. Listen, if you're still voting liberal and you still think Orange Man is bad, all right, after still watching that introductory video, which, I mean, you should see it by now. And if you think Mark Carney is good, you literally need to come off my page, because everyone that votes liberal at this point really needs a throat punch at this point. Take the assault charges, give them a throat punch. You'll feel a lot better, especially when you're sitting in court and they say, why did you do it? Anyone that votes liberal at this point deserves a throat punch, including the judge. If he says, well, I'm a liberal, you need a throat punch too. And trust me, I know a few judges out there that are actually, I would say 90% of liberals, of judges are liberals anyway, right? Everyone should know this. But check out this video, guys. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds long. I had the original, but I'll let Mariel do it because it's 1 minute and 30 seconds long. But it's very disgusting. And check this out.
You have things which we need. We have things which you need. I mean, for example, simple examples. We have, you're a country of, you're the second largest country in the world with a 40 million population, 40 million population. You need at least about 100 million population. You need people to man many of your resources. We have the capacity, we have the intellect, we have the talent, we have the resources.
That gentleman there is the High Commissioner of India to Canada. And respectfully, my friend, we don't need 100 million people in our country. We don't need to fill the gap with 60 million people coming from India. If that's what we wanted, we would move to India. What we want is immigration caps by country. The concept of getting to 100 million people is not something that anyone voted for. In fact, that's something that the Liberal Party supported through the Century Initiative. The Century Initiative, which was founded by Mark Wiseman, a friend of Mark Carney's, who is now the ambassador to the US. Yes, you can check all this stuff out. You can fact check me all you want. This is real. This is legit. And if you forgot, the Century Initiative wanted 100 million people by 2100. On average, that means over 770,000 people coming into our country per year until the year 2100. We can barely build enough houses now. Look at what happened in 2021 and 2022 when the Liberal Party decided to open up the floodgates of immigration.
Can you imagine, guys, another 60 million Punjabs and Indians? Just today alone, as I was driving to install another reverse osmosis machine, a few of them today, I was looking at went down a road, and a lot of them were, the road was truck drivers as I was going to the warehouse. And every truck that I seen as I was driving was all turbine heads, turbines. I'm literally at the point where I'm going to go postal. All right, literally going to go postal. I don't care if anyone thinks that's racist. Someone showed me something yesterday about for locals that are in the Kent County area, which is in this area, guys, for the people that don't know. Anyway, there was a politician named Benoit Bourque. He's a liberal, a piece of shit. So anyway, he posted that if it wasn't that in the Kent County area, if it wasn't for the immigrants to keep it going, that because of the jobs, someone was complaining about the jobs, and this piece of shit came out and said, we need immigrants to make up for those jobs because of the aging population. And then one of the guys named Billy Sonia, who's a good friend of mine, who I will be talking to, said something about, no, we don't need immigrants. We have enough students that can fill up jobs and people that are looking for jobs. And he had the balls that said, well, I remember when we were in high school, this has been well saying this to Billy, we had about 1,000 kids, and now we're down to 500 kids in the high school. Well, you know what? The best way, and there's other things I can debate with that piece of shit, and if anybody knows him, tell him he is a big piece of shit, just like Dominic LeBlanc, is the fact is white people can have kids today is because white people cannot afford kids today. You understand? If we could afford to have more kids, then white people would be doing what they used to do back in, 30, 40 years ago, if not 50, because in my mom's family, they had 21 kids, all right, back in the day. But now, I mean, the real Canadians, I'm not even going to say white, because obviously that just sounds bad, but we'll just say the real Canadians, they can't have kids today because they can't afford kids today. But for some reason, every immigrant that comes into Canada are having 4 to 6 kids, and they're popping babies. They're literally pregnant on the plane, especially Africans. This is not a lie. They're literally pregnant on the plane coming over here as we speak, just to make sure that when they have their kid or kids, they're having them as a Canadian, so they're not being shipped back. That's why we need that whole birthright, what Donald Trump is doing in the United States. Don't give a shit if your kid was born in the United States. If you're an immigrant and you come here and you have your kid here, you're going back, plain and simple. So bring the birthright. But of course, you're not going to have a politician talk about it, because obviously people are trashing Pierre. How come he's not doing this and doing that? Do you even know what's happening to Donald Trump for the last 10 years and what the news would do to Pierre Poilievre if he would really want to speak his mind, even though he's probably in the same, I mean, you got Mr. Freedom say they're the same bird and with the same feathers or whatever the bullshit he talks about. But guys, at the end of the day, you got to vote for the lesser evil. You understand? So when people say, well, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't matter. Well, if you're not going to vote, then liberals are always going to keep in power, because the immigrants are always going to keep on voting for the Liberal Party, because they're known for getting handouts. This is why the whole thing around the world is bringing tons and millions of immigrants into every city, every town, every province, every state, is because those are potential voters. If you look in Ontario now, immigrants are now allowed to vote, even if they just jumped off the plane today. They're allowed to vote tomorrow because they know what's going to happen, because now they're trying to take over Ontario in the voting, even though it's Doug Ford, who's a piece of shit liberal himself. But now they got this Erkin Smith who they're trying to bring in to replace Doug Ford, just to let you know. So, with that being said, there's so much crap happening. And this is in Lisbon. If you guys don't know where Lisbon is, it's in Spain. All right, check this out. It's 11 seconds long, but check out in Lisbon. It does not include Germany, everywhere except Poland. But check this out in Lisbon, how bad it is for Africans and all that shit. Yeah, those were engineers and doctors, guys, just to let you know. And New Brunswickers, you better get used to that. Those were all Africans, by the way. And we're getting 135,000 Africans coming to New Brunswick alone. All right. That's right. 135,000 African. And then you got Mark Carney making a deal trying to bring in 60 million Indians, because apparently we need 100 million people. Guys, 100 million people? Are you effing kidding me? My town alone, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was looking at, some jobs in Calgary, because I'll be there for 3 months. I get bored. My course is Monday to Thursday for ambulance. So I'm free Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right. Now, I'm not going to have a vehicle down there because they want like $2,100 to ship my vehicle from here, New Brunswick, to Calgary. And then it'll cost me $2,100 to ship my car back from Calgary to here in 3 months. So I'm literally going to Calgary for 3 months carless. So I'm like, you know what? I'll get a part-time job on the weekend to keep myself busy. All right. I was looking at the jobs down there. There's in the Calgary alone in the Southeast, because I'll be in Southeast Calgary, there was 10 jobs. 10 jobs in Southeast Calgary. They're full-time jobs. Obviously, I'm not applying for that, but 10 jobs. I was totally like bamboozled, I think the name is. I couldn't believe it. Because it's literally filled. People have been telling me that live down in Calgary and Edmonton, that is literally compact, filled with Punjabs now. And I'm dreading. I'm like this close. I'm messaging my college that I'm going to ambulance and say, please, for the love of God, tell me the truth about, is my class going to be filled with Indians? Because if it is, I don't think I want to go. But you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I go to Ontario, anywhere, because I just did a first aid course 2 weekends ago, and it was the worst weekend in my entire life, guys. I think I told you guys that we had 12 students, and 9 of them were immigrants. And what a long weekend that was for Saturday and Sunday. I felt like crying. All right, felt like crying. But to literally be in a setting for 3 months with immigrants that don't know what they're doing, because that first aid was a joke. Let's just hope no one needs first aid from the 9 immigrants that were there, and that's not a joke. Let's just, even my instructor, when it was all said and done at the end, he said, he literally said, let's hope there's no emergencies with what I just seen and did for the weekend, because it would be just crazy. So I'm praying. I'm this close to messaging my school just to double check that they can pronounce the last names. And if I'm going to ask them, I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to ask them how many students are in the class. And I'm just this close of saying, is there any Singhs and what's the other one? Deeps and all that. Because if it is, I don't think I want to do 3 months of that shit, because I'm going to either commit suicide or bring earplugs. Either way, it's going to be a long 3 months if I'm in a classroom full of immigrants. Because you know what? Down here in Moncton, this is not a lie. When I registered for the ambulance course down here, guys, from September to, it was a full year. And in the September, when I walked in to register and all that, it literally was just jammed with immigrants, all Punjabis, all Indians. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing that for a full year. No way. No, thank you. So they're everywhere you go. They're taking up everything you can imagine. And I hate to say it, but it's going to get worse. And speaking of getting worse, check this out for you people that didn't know. We're going to start with Canada. Then we'll jump on to the United States. Check out our Minister of Health, an African. Our Minister of Health is a effing fudging African. I don't even know how this is possible. I do, but I don't at the same time. Look what she says about the immigrants in health.
Mr. Speaker, it's really unfortunate that we have this kind of conversation where we are talking of the health of Canadian and asylum seekers. The reality is those people are in the country and we have agreement. And our system, the health system is a compassionate system. So what we are saying is those people, they need to have access to health. And we are working closely with provinces and territories also to get more access to Canadian people.
Can you imagine that? You see the I almost said Democrats. You see with the Conservatives, they wouldn't even let her speak. They're yelling. If I would be sitting in that house, I'd be throwing shit out. Well, I wouldn't be able to sit in there. They'd be throwing me out. But I'd be saying the truth in there and losing my effing mind. All right. Like once someone just said, who said, Moles just said, speak English. Exactly. Speak English. All right. How did this person, they're literally destroying, the politicians are destroying Canada, and they're doing it on purpose. If you haven't figured that out by now, you are completely lost. All right. I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't figured it out by now, you're never going to figure it out. Okay. So since we're on Canada, they came out, there's a report that came out, and this is the truth. There's there is a report that came out that a lot of Canadians, real Canadians, all right, real Canadians are dying in the last 3 years from trucks. And those trucks are being run by Punjabis, like I was saying today. There is more accidents. I think the accidents and the death rate risen up to something like 800% in the last 3 years. But they're trying to say, shut it down, stop the immigrants from getting a truck driver's license. But check this out. This is the person in charge of the trucks, all right, in Ontario. Pragmeet Singh Saka, whatever the hell, whatever, toilet bowl, all right. This is the person responsible for the trucking industry in Ontario. This is the Ontario Minister of Transportation, all right. Tell me how far your report is going to go. Well, let me just tell you, Mr. Harpreet Singh, if my child or my wife or, were injured or died in a trucking accident by a Punjabi, let's just say, my friend, I can promise you, you'll be looking over your back for the rest of your life for target practice. If that ever happened, because you won't put a cap and stop the immigrants from getting their truck license. And because I seen a bunch this week. Remember, we had that big snowstorm, and there was 4 trucks, transport trucks in the last week. I showed you guys the picture. There's 4 transport trucks on one slide road down here in Moncton that were off the road. And I give you guys a question. I said, hey, what's the common denominator that 4 transport trucks are off the road, which was a simple road. There was nothing extravagant with snow or anything, just to let you know. They shouldn't even have been on the road in the first place in a snowstorm, but there's 4 trucks. Anyway, they were all Punjabis. Speaking of that, and speaking of the biggest joke, check this out. This is the military now. The Department of National Defense reports a 12.9% recruitment is on the rise. This is what they're showing. I mean, this is what our tax-paying money is going to, all right? Must I say more? I'm not going to insult the military any more than I've been insulting them in the past. It's the gayest military that I've ever seen, all right? And it will always be the gayest military for the last 20 years. And we don't need a military, for the love of God. I've said this. If I was ever prime minister, the first thing would go is I defund and take away the RCMP because they're useless tits. And 2, we wouldn't need a military because there's no need for military. They only, I'll give you this question. Why do you think, especially Canada, I'm not going to talk about the other countries, even though I know the answer. Why do you think they keep the military in every country? But I'm going to say for Canada, let's see if you guys are paying attention. Why do you think Canada needs a military? I'm not even going to call it an army. Does anybody know the right answer? I know you guys are going to know the answer. Why do you think countries need military? Anybody? Let's see. Are you sure Biden's not running Canada? Well, he knows what he's doing. Carney knows what he's doing with Canada. They're not stupid. So why do you think Canada needs a military? Because I've said it the longest time, we don't need a military. We never needed a military. We haven't needed a military since the 40s, all right? World War II. And even then we didn't even need a military because there was no reason to go across the sea to fight for something that the Rothschilds couldn't put a banking system in Germany, because that's all that World War II was all about, right? Because Germany and Hitler threw out the Rothschild banking system, so they all went against them. All right, keep paying income tax. You're right, Kim. That's right, for taxes. The War Act, exactly, since 1918. As long as we have a military, they use what they call the War Act for us to pay income tax. That's it. That's the answer. That's the answer. See, Manny didn't even know martial law, and Eric didn't even know martial law. No, you guys are wrong. Manny, you're not paying attention, right? It's to keep the taxes, because the taxes were supposed to started before the war to fund World War I, and they were supposed to stop after World War I was done, but they kept it going. All right. This is the only reason why it's called the War Act. If you don't believe me, look it up. This is the only reason why we have a military, because there's no reason to have a military in Canada. All right. They're useless. Useless. They always been useless. I don't care if your father was in the military. I don't care if your grandfather was in the military. To me, people in the military today are people that don't want to work, are people that are like hiding from being out in the workforce. That's the real reason why people join the military, because they can't make it in the real world. So they'll go and play games in the fake world. You understand? That is the true meaning of joining the military. I don't care what they think they tell you. And also they use you as pincushions too, just to let you know. That's why you have a lot of military suffering from PTSD. In the States, in Canada, it doesn't even matter. That's why you see a lot of homeless, a lot of them on drugs, because they literally use them as pincushions to vaccinate. As let's try out this vaccine, and they'll tell the military you got no other choice, or else you'll get court-martialed, right? For the people. So anyway, let that be said. That's the main reason. If you don't like it, too bad. You shouldn't be following my podcast. All right, let's do. This is all you know. Oh, for the liberals, again, and the RCMP being useless tits and the most corrupted mafia out there. Check this out. We always wondered what happened to the commissioner of the RCMP, who was a female, LeBucky. Don't ask me how LeBucky became commissioner and a female, and how our national defense, our what do you call it? Our general of the military, the gay military, is a female. I don't even understand how that shit happens. DEI, for the people that don't know. But check this out with LeBucky and of course Trudeau himself. Of this alone should have been investigated and charged.
The RCMP is investigating the leaks. They're investigating those, and they've given a statement to media. So I want to ask you, did your office, your government refer the matter to the RCMP? And do you think it's the appropriate focus to focus on the leaks as opposed to the allegations?
First of all, it is not appropriate for politicians to direct our police services to do or to not do.
I was promised a chronology on Thursday afternoon for the minister and the prime minister.
Investigations, we can certainly ask.
It's pretty difficult when you have to tell. I have apologized to the minister. I'm waiting for the prime minister to call me so I can apologize, and I'm telling you it's not about me.
But the RCMP makes its determinations based on what they have, and I can assure you.
Does anybody realize what's going on in the world of handguns and guns right now? The fact that they're in the middle of trying to get a legislation going.
They are now deciding to pursue a criminal investigation or an investigation into the various national security breaches that we've seen over the past months.
Yeah, we all know she pretty much said, do you guys know what they're trying to do in the world with handguns and guns? Yeah, we know, Lucky. We know, Brenda Lucky. They're literally trying to disarm so they can do whatever they want with Canadians and Americans. It's never going to happen. The RCMP can try to take the guns, but trust me, there's a lot of guns waiting for them, and a lot of people will go down. Actually, the RCMP would go down before the people, because there's, from what the group I'm in alone, over 10,000, alpha males, they're waiting for that day to even think about happening, and then shit's going to pop off, and they're going to need more than those fake Canadian RCMP that were UN back in the bouncy castle days, because that shit's never going to happen again. Trust me when I say that, that's never going to happen again. Not with the group that I'm in, guys. The underground, they're just waiting for shit to pop off. Trust me. And you know what? I keep on telling them it's never going to happen. So don't even worry about it. As long as we have Donald Trump, none of that shit's going to happen. If Donald Trump were to get assassinated, which will never happen, because the real Donald Trump is pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? Secured. I think that would be the word, secured. But yeah, most of the time that you see someone out there, that's his body double. No, it's not a clone. It's a body double. And so we'll just leave it to that. But I'm not going to get into the States yet. I just want to show one more thing. I think it's one more. Yeah. So this is happening right now. Just this, Mariel shared this, but I was on top of it just about the exact same time what Mariel's sharing. But this is happening in Vancouver as we speak right now. Speaking of Indians, unfortunately, it's the other Indians, which I call freeloaders. Check this out. This is by the Liberal Party. This should piss you guys off.
Guys, this is massive and breaking news. I generally don't make videos this early in the morning, but this one's important. This is still not covered in mainstream media, but Juno News just broke the story that Canada just handed control of all of Vancouver, this includes Richmond, this includes Burnaby, to the Musqueam Indian Band. And the area is larger than what I highlighted, but this is the general area. Literally, it's all of Richmond, Vancouver, and Burnaby. And they did it quietly. And the Liberal government, they're refusing to publicly release the agreement that they made with the Musqueam Indian Band that recognizes the Aboriginal title over to the vast majority of BC, including Metro Vancouver and the surrounding areas. This affects nearly 2 million people. They buried it in a fisheries announcement. That was on Friday. Coincidentally or not, while things were ramping up in Iran. And Juno News rightfully said that this could radically undermine property rights in one of Canada's largest and most populated metropolitan areas. And the title of the news release that the government decided to do is that Canada signed a historic agreement recognizing rights, stewardship, and fisheries. Essentially, the government still wants you to pay your taxes on that land, but they want Aboriginal title on top of it. For those who don't know, this recently happened in Cowichan, in a small area where people were then unable to get a mortgage. The government had to step in and back up the loans because banks would not touch it. Guys, this is really, really bad, and it has not hit mainstream media yet.
Yeah, so what's going to happen there is I see a little civil war happening because they're doing it thinking that nobody's going to go against the natives. That's what they're doing. They actually think that Canadians won't go after the natives if they come after the land, right? That's what they're trying to do. Again, it's not going to work. I'm telling you now, it's not going to end good for the Liberals or for the natives, to be honest with you. If it gets to the point, if it really gets to the point when push comes to shove, it's going to get bad for the that tribe and the bunch of other freeloaders, because they're trying to do it in Ontario, they're trying to do it in Quebec. They tried to do it in New Brunswick, tried, but a judge threw it out. Right? Tried. I was hoping he wouldn't throw it out because I really wanted shit to happen when it came to freeloaders again trying to get land that's not nobody's land. It's Mother's Earth land, and I'll say it 1,000 times. Go to the nearest reserve and tell me if they really respect nature and Mother Earth on their land, and see for yourself if it doesn't look like a dump. All right. They don't respect anything when it comes to Mother Earth and nature and all that shit. Because you know what? They overfish, they overhunt. I mean, they're just literally everything you can imagine on a reserve. You're going to see it. I don't even think there's one reserve that I know of that's actually clean and nice, and they take care of the land and they take care of their yards. I mean, every reserve has them. You might have a house or two. All right. But either way, this has got nothing to do with this land is their land, this land. I mean, it's got nothing to do with that shit. This is all about division. And if you really want to do an anthropology course, go to university, take an anthropology course. You'll see who was actually here the very first, and it had nothing to do with natives. But of course, you're not going to, I mean, that's been buried. I mean, it's been buried. And now we know why they keep on bringing this up. All right, with the natives and whatever happened 300 years ago. This is why you're seeing news lately of land claims. You know what I mean? Trying to make us feel guilty. You understand? This is all psyop. This is all conditioning is the word I was trying to find. All right, enough about Canada, because that's boring as F. It's boring. I hate talking about Canada because it's boring. There's it just gets to the point that I just want to fall asleep when it comes to it. But before that, here's another thing I want to show you guys. Canada's corruption runs deep. Our government spent over $300 billion over 10 years on indigenous programs and nothing to show for. You get it yet? Exactly. Can you imagine 300 billion? That's $30 billion a year that they spent on indigenous shit. All right. Just to let you know, because that's what it is. Freeloading shit. All right. And it's, I don't know why I don't even get into politics, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get in or who you get in. The vote, it's never, you're just voting for the wrong person. But I would speak on behalf of the common person. And trust me, the freeloaders would be on the top list of my 10 speaking points about how, you know, you want to be treated like a Canadian. You're going to be paying taxes like a Canadian. When you come off that reserve, you're going to nail just as much as the Canadians. And there's no more free checks for you, because it doesn't exist. It really doesn't exist. It makes everybody mad. All right. That's why they want division. All right. They put it out there. I know of a person up in Ontario, up by Thunder Bay. They got him in his reserve. Everybody on that reserve got over $220,000. He told me. He was showing me the wads of money, and then laughing at us, laughing at me, saying, calling us poor and retarded and all a bunch of names, and laughing as he bought himself a Range Rover. And he said, we're going to get a lot more on our reserve. And this is up in Thunder Bay. And you don't even understand. I got banned from Instagram for the shit that I put on Instagram about that guy, this native up in Thunder Bay, bragging about how much they got. And he was doing videos, pulling out $7,000 at a time and walking around with a bag full of money. All right. This is what I'm talking about. It's disgusting. All right. Let's get to the states and we'll go from there. Donald Trump is the man. All right. I'm going to tell you what he just did with his State of Union speech. And he looked at the Democrats when they weren't standing up. And look what he says.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
I mean, for anybody to say anything bad about Donald Trump at this point, when he actually, which president have you actually ever heard about him going and looking at the other party and said, these people are crazy? But of course, they're all in the same group, right? Remember, right? And you still have Mr. Freedom, who something turned that guy, and I can't comment, but that guy is just lost. He's off his marbles right now. I don't know if it's if the drugs he was taking, it affected his brain, but I still watch him doing a live this morning, getting pissed off at Donald Trump, and I can't comment. It pisses me off that I can't comment on his stuff because I'm banned. All right, but it pisses me off. Number one, Mr. Freedom, is Donald Trump's not a politician. For the love of God, Donald Trump is a businessman. He's not a politician. All right. So whatever you're trying to say about politicians, yes, I agree. Politicians are corrupt. They're douchebags. But again, Donald Trump doesn't consider himself a politician. Please let me know and show me a video ever with Donald Trump saying that he was a politician. It's never going to happen. Speaking of that, look what he says. Look what he does. All right, Mr. Not trying to save the world. Look what he just did in the United States this week. Hold on. So if you paid attention, he literally banned BlackRock, Vanguard, all of those big corporations, put an executive order that they cannot buy single family homes ever again. All right. Ever again. Oh yeah, but Donald Trump is, he's doing this. It's just all smoke and mirrors and it's just a pony show. Listen, I mean, he's literally bringing it out. If it was such a pony show and smoke and mirrors, he wouldn't bring it out front and center and let people know that these companies are doing this for taking up all the properties and renting them back to you. You understand? All right. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But check this out. When we talk about evil, we're going to get into some stuff that's with evil. And then, yeah, we'll get into something else that is kind of off topic. But I mean, you can't make this shit up at the same time. So check this out. This is the medal that Barack Obama was going around giving all these stars and celebrities But there's something that all these stars and celebrities have in common. Check this out.
Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Yeah, kind of weird, huh? Every one of those persons are Trump haters and have something to do with Epstein files and kids and depopulation, you name it, right? Every single one of them. So Andrea says, Mr. Freedom messaged me because I followed you and said that Jeff can't save us. Okay, no, Jeff can't save us, but Jeff can inform us. I mean, I wish I could save everyone. I could if I was prime minister, but no, Jeff's going to inform you of what's out there to open up your eyes. But one thing about Mr. Freedom that he doesn't understand, he says, which common sense is out the door when it comes to him. He says that he's never going to vote no more and that the only savior out there is Jesus Christ. Yes, we agree with who's our savior, retard. But the problem is he's not on the ballot. You understand? So with you not voting, it's not going to help the situation. All right. I never thought roofers were smart people to begin with. I mean, it's an easy trade. It's probably the worst trade when if you fall off the face of the earth and you landed in jail and you can't get a job. Usually they're roofers, right? Trust me, I know a lot of roofers. They're all drugged up and drunk and ex-cons. But to actually, common sense is out his door, which I thought he had common sense once upon a time. But Jesus Christ is not on the ballot, so you not voting is not going to help the situation. All right, you have to vote, but you got to vote for the lesser evil. At the end of the day, Jesus Christ is not on the ballot. So you can give that to Mr. Freedom too, because that doesn't even make sense. I'm never going to vote again because it doesn't really matter who you vote. So speaking of that, check this out. I had, that's a video. Here's some more stuff with what's happening. And as for Iran, all right, because this is all happening right now with Iran. All right. There is nothing negative anyone can say about what's happening. All right. Nothing that could happen or say anything negative about to Iran. There's not one negative. Someone wrote today on, I really hate the States. They took out this school system and killed 160 something kids. Well, that was a crock of shit. All right. A crock of shit again from the corrupted media. All right, from the corrupted media, which is the plague, it's the real virus. The media are the real virus, and if it was up to me, those targets that are that should be done, all right, should be on every news station, every corrupted newspaper. Those should be the real targets that everyone should be targeting. To be honest with you, because once that plague is done, then that stops the whole flow of the virus, because obviously. It's just a bunch of crock of shit every day that they report it. Well, common sense is very simple, not for Democrats and liberals. Number one, there is no reason to take out a school of kids because that's got nothing to do to help the situation of taking out terrorists. Because obviously, when you take out a school of kids, that puts everybody against you. All right, unless it was done on purpose to go against you. You understand? All right. So with that being said, this is, it just came out today that Iran mistakenly took out the school because one of their missiles misfired. And now the news is not covering that. But now they're taking credit for that whole school that caught on fire or killed kids. I don't think that's true to begin with, to be honest with you. But if it was, it had nothing to do with the United States or anybody bombing a school, because that doesn't give them anything at the end of the day. Common sense is out the door when it comes to that. All right. Well, let's just bomb a school of kids just in case they turn out to be Al Qaeda in the future. Like all right. But the news took a beautiful picture of get this. They took a picture of a knapsack, a backpack. They put a little fake blood on it, and they took a picture on top of rubble, and they reported school gets bombed by United States, 160. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just glad that I have a beautiful son, and that I have a future. Because if I didn't have a future, I literally would lose my effing mind right now. And I think that's what they want. I think they want people to lose their mind and go on a rampage. All right. And I hope it happens. I hope it happens. It ain't going to happen with me, but I hope more people go on a rampage when they're sick and tired of listening to this bullshit that is reported on the news on a daily basis. All right. Because now it's really getting stupid, really stupid. And speaking of bad, Orange Man bad. Well, look at this, Davos, the Davos, WEF, whatever his name is, steps down, resigns after Epstein links revealed. That's right. Even though I've told you guys the WEF, all right, the WEF has already been defunded. The WEF doesn't really exist anymore. Klaus Schwab has been taken out. George Soros has been taken out. The WHO has been defunded a couple of years now. WEF has been defunded. They're running on fumes right now. Nothing really exists behind, in the real world. But behind closed doors, they keep this going because, like Trump said, let's keep it front and center and expose them. That's why he went to Davos this year, because there wasn't a lot of people there, all right, like they usually have. But he likes to keep it front and center, expose, and let the world know. And that's what they're doing. For this, so President Trump didn't start a war with Iran. He is ending a 47-year war with Iran. So if anybody knows the history of Iran, it was for 47 years. You had this ruler that would torture people if you tried to even protest, kill women, torture women that would show any kind of skin. Women couldn't vote. Women couldn't have education. I think just before Donald Trump bombed them, I think they killed something like 50, 60,000 Iranians for protesting on the street. And you're going to look at me and tell me that doing anything against Iran has nothing to do with the world? They've been chanting death to America for 40 years. Nuclear bombs don't exist, guys. I'm telling you now. There's no such thing as a nuclear bomb. And I've said that for the past 5 years now. There's no such thing as a nuclear bomb. That's always been, and trust me, I've got proof. And that's always been a scare tactic. It always has. But there has never been a such thing as a nuclear bomb. And I'm going to show you this little video that I thought was pretty funny, even though I knew this for 5 years. But if anybody follows Tyler Hansen, the fittest flat earther, sometimes his videos are good. Sometimes they're a little bit far-fetched, but he does put some common sense. But check what he says about nuclear bombs. But, you can't debate with him when it comes to this.
Oh no, Iran has secret weapons deadlier than nukes. Ah! You guys know nukes don't exist, right? Well, not on any level that they want you to think they do, at least. Notice how all nuke plants are on water. Nuclear plants are almost always located near a large body of water, and when it says almost, there's one that's not in Arizona, and it still has tons and tons of water shipped to it. And you see all this scary nuclear pollution? Well, it's just steam, because nuclear power plants are just making energy from boiling water. Yes, at a fundamental level, most nuclear power plants function like enormous high-tech steam engines. They use heat from splitting atoms to boil water into steam, which then spins the turbine to generate electricity. They're giant water-boiling electricity plants. There's no nuclear energy coming from it. Well, maybe there is, but nuclear sure sounds a lot like new, clear energy. Like, clear like water. So yes, I'm telling you, nuclear bombs don't exist. I'm not even really sure atomic bombs do anymore, because have you ever seen the footage from the supposed atomic bomb testing? Now watch some of this with a discerning eye, and you tell me it's not just a little miniature town being blown up instead of a giant fake town like they say. Use a discerning eye.
This house was 6,000 feet from ground zero. Other homes that were closer were incinerated.
It's a miniature model.
Everybody.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, now cut, it's black. A big explosion. And the miniature models. This is supposedly real footage from a... Watch how this moves. No, seriously. Watch how this moves. It's just a fake miniature model that they're using to put people into a fear state so they can control their minds. Same thing.
Yeah, so that's exactly what he said. And yes, I know Tyler sometimes is all over the place with Elvis and all that crap. But like I said, he does have some videos that are really pretty interesting. But there's no such thing as nuclear bombs. Never was anything with nuclear bomb, just to let you know. Like he just said, they use it for a fear tactic to control people. And because remember back in the 80s, the Russians had this bomb and they made the movie the day after of what would happen if we ever a nuclear attack. They made this movie to show, you know, Russia was bad. Remember fear tactics back in the 80s with Gorbachev. Remember that, guys, for the you know, the older people and the boomers. Like, I hate to call myself a boomer, but I'm not. But all that, right? They made it in the 80s, and they made that's when they first started surfacing around with the nuclear war and the nuclear bomb back in the 80s against Russia. And that's when it all started to circulate. This bomb would do this and do that. No, it's always been a fear tactic because they were trying to take over Russia, because Russia is their biggest enemy, United States, that is. Russia has always been the biggest enemy. And they've always seen movies like Red Dawn, The Day After, Something Tomorrow, but everything, especially the Red Dawn, showed exactly, try to put fear in people's mind about Russia attacking the United States and taking over. Remember that movie with Patrick Swayze called The Red Dawn? If you don't, take a look at it. It's a pretty good, interesting movie itself. Speaking about evil, check this minute and 42 seconds video out, guys. You can't make this stuff up, just to let you know. And we should know by now. Don't eat at McDonald's. Stop eating at McDonald's, especially McDonald's. Any fast food is the same, even KFC now, which I've showed the video. But check this out about this woman talking about human meat.
In fact, a good portion of it is all human meat. All human. It's all human. The amount of people killed, sacrificed, ground up, and fed back to you is more than the cattle that's on the earth. Let's put it that way, okay? We would steer clear of any type of ground meat unless you literally are getting it from a farm where they process their food right there and then, in which case, you know, really it's usually a farm. They've got a little store there. They've got, you know, their own package system, their own meat system. Short of that, we wouldn't recommend any type of ground meat to be consumed if you're concerned with whether you're participating in cannibalism or not. And the biggest issue, besides the obvious, for most people, moral issue of eating another human being, is the energy behind it. And also, your bodies are not designed to consume each other, so they cause it causes health problems as well, and things of that nature. And we know that you all have participated in it so far in your lives. Everybody's been eating this stuff. Everybody's been eating the fast food hamburgers. Everybody's been eating the ground up stuff and things like that. But we're just telling you, in fact, a good portion of it is all human meat. All human. It's all human. The amount of people killed, sacrificed.
Yeah, I think everyone should know that by now, because there's not enough cows in the world to feed the people just in one day. All right, they did the numbers. For the amount of burgers that are getting eaten in a day, just at McDonald's alone, not including the other, there's not enough cows in the world. So that meat's coming from somewhere. Soylent Green. And you're wrong, Nancy Cormier. The Red Dawn had nothing to do with Japanese. Trust me. Don't believe me? Take a look at the movie. Had nothing to do with Japanese when it came to Red Dawn. It was the Soviets. 100%. I'll put a bet on it. $100 if you want. But I am 100%, 110%. Had nothing to do with Japanese with Red Dawn. It was all Russian propaganda. I hope I said that word right. Propaganda. Here's a little quick video, guys, just to let you know that shit's happening around the world, and it doesn't. We can't even make sense of it. This is the last video. I know you guys seen that whole Jim Carrey bullshit the other day at the awards, which now it came out that it wasn't Jim Carrey. It was some other guy that, obviously, because everyone found out that it wasn't Jim Carrey. So it's been big news everywhere. It went viral. So we all know the whole Jim Carrey thing is Jim Carrey is no longer with us, or Jim Carrey was taken out. Either way, I knew when Jim Carrey was taken out. It's been the longest time when he lost his mind back in 2018. Jim Carrey has been gone for a long time, especially I think he was on that list for execution. Either way, but check this out with Selena Gomez, even though I know she's been gone for a while. I think some of you seen this video, but I don't think some of you's, not everyone, seen the video. But check this out. Check the back of Selena Gomez's leg. Look at the leg and tell me what you think.
Do y'all remember when that completely unexplainable thing happened to Selena Gomez and she fell and her foot literally contorted up beside her ankle? You remember that? Then we had her boyfriend here in the early 2010s when this was happening in court. Look at his eyes. It's very real footage. I watched it happen live. And by the way, it's extremely difficult to find this video nowadays. And let me tell you, this phenomenon doesn't only have to do with A-list celebrities. It happens to people on the TV, to anchors, and to even random people you would never expect on the news. But did you know that Beyonce used that same exact mugshot, that same exact time on stage while she was performing? You know, Beyonce, the queen bee, the same Beyonce they worship at all award shows, the same Beyonce that if you say something about, then your career is ruined. You know, the eye thing can be passed off as demonic possession, but not really that right there. So what's this supposed to be? What are we looking at? What's the probability that Selena Gomez literally got switched out from the old Selena Gomez? Maybe she didn't want to do certain things or say certain things they wanted her to say. What do you think?
So yeah, we all know, and just by that video, you can explain that. It's kind of weird and disturbing at the same time. But either way, guys, thank you. It's been a good hour. I hope you guys learned a lot of things. I hope I opened up a few eyes. But either way, I mean, there was a lot to throw at you guys tonight. This is, for me, guys, this is therapy. It is what it is. I love doing this. I've been doing this for over 6 years. It's therapy for me. I'm glad I get it out for you guys, because this stuff just bottles up, and maybe one day I would go post. So that's why I don't mind doing these videos. And a special shout out going out to Andre Dupree, Dupree's Towing, for sponsoring the show. He sponsors it 6 months at a time. Got to love the guy for doing this, because I mean, it's $100 a month for me to do the StreamYard videos and VPN and all this, to do this stuff for you guys. And Andre loves the podcast, and obviously I wasn't going to keep on paying out of my pocket to help everybody. And thanks to him and the sponsor for being the sponsor for the past few years. Great guy too, great company. And anyway, I love you guys all. This Thursday I won't be doing a show because I have my son. Just to let you guys know, I won't be doing a show Thursday because we will be in Truro, literally skiing. So this was only one show for this week. I hope you guys understand. My son's here. It's March break. I know you guys do understand. And if something happens, that some kind of secret comes out that I know of, sure, I'll do a podcast and I'll let you guys know. But keep tabs on the Freedom Jeff. Hit the notifications. Please add me to YouTube, so when this shit goes down in Facebook and they erase my account, like I said, I'm not making another account. I'll always be on YouTube. And I don't even care if I have 5 people watching, because like I said, it's therapy for me. I just like to get it out, and it is what it is, guys. Remember, The Canadian Don on YouTube. The Canadian Don, as in Donald Trump, as in Don Cherry. I think you guys hit notifications and, and subscribe. And every time I jump on, you guys will get a notification on your phone to know that you're not missing what I have to talk about. Anyway, I love you guys all. Take care, and we'll see you guys back next Monday night. If there's anything, I'll let you guys know before, but it's going to be a busy week with my son. I know you guys understand. And like Don Cherry says, you people hold that line. I love you guys all. We'll see you next Monday. Adios, amigos.
Miss out. Bringing you the real truth, exposed. The Canadian Don is digging deeper, asking what others won't, and broadcasting it uncensored. For real. Join the conversation live with facts you can see and voices you can trust. Subscribe today.